You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
We always talk Australian sport on Saturday afternoons with Adam Peacock, our Australian correspondent, normally around 1:45, but Adam was playing golf, so he said, look, I'll finish my round and then I'll have a chat to you. So New Zealand needs to know, Adam, how did you go?
It was an Ambrose Day, Piney, so it wasn't all on me. It was all care, no responsibility. So it was, it was a good little day down the local golf club, and on the way home now to sit on the beach. I think it's 34 degrees over in Sydney town today. So it's some rays to be had.
There's some rays to be had and some liquid refreshment, no doubt, as well. Thanks for chatting to us before you get stuck into that sort of thing. David Warner, let's start with him, responding to some criticism ahead of the Test summer. 164 in his first bat of the Test summer, shushing certain people when he reached three figures. What did you make of David Warner's innings a couple of days ago?
It was the perfect response to any kind of criticism, and the way it's all been smooth. So he's that type of character that opens up debate about not just his ability, but his overall worth. And I'm hearing a lot of interviews here saying, "Oh, well, numbers don't lie," but numbers don't lie, and that word "but's" used, and it's almost like it's needed to be pointed out to kind of cover up something else, a misgiving that other people have about him. Look, if you purely paint him as a cricketer and not so much the character, he's one of the all-time greats, but that character is called into question after what happened, and people are hanging on to it, especially over there in New Zealand with what happened with the sandpaper and all of that. I'll put him in the category of one of the all-time greats for Australia, absolutely. That proved it again the other day.
Yeah, well, as you say, you don't score the runs he has in all formats without being able to play the game, and he certainly can do that. I saw 1/6 that he hit when he's down on his knees and hooking down to fine leg. He can still clearly see the ball okay and hit the ball okay.
Incredible amount of talent. His hand-eye is superb, and he's still going. Like there was thought 2 years ago, he's pretty much done and dusted, especially out of the ban that he copped for the sandpaper, and he went to England for the Ashes series. He just didn't look himself. Stuart Broad had his number, but he's gone on for another 4 years, and I think he was in trouble just before he scored a double ton against South Africa at the MCG, but that's prolonged his career to put it back on his terms, and now it's very much on his terms, and I mean, unless he has a change of heart, he'll retire from the Test team after the SCG test in a couple of weeks and go play some white ball stuff. He'll still be around, but you can look back on a fair old career with the amount of runs he scored, and the strike rate of 70 in Test matches is pretty incredible.
Pakistan 2 down, heading into day 3. I see Nathan Lyon got a wicket. I think that's 497 for Nathan Lyon now. Looking back, I mean, did he feel like the kind of bowler who would knock on the door of 500 Test wickets?
Not at the start. You couldn't have pinned it at the start, and especially for an off spinner, a finger spinner like Warney did what he did with his sheer brilliance. And it's quite incredible that now in my kind of lifetime since remembering cricket, we've had two spinners from Australia that have taken nearly 1,300 Test wickets, or over 1,200 Test wickets. It's amazing, absolutely amazing numbers, and Nathan Lyon contributing a fair whack of them. It's superb, and hopefully today is the day where he cracks through 500. He took one wicket as Australia and Pakistan are playing out an even Test match, it looks like, on a pretty barren deck, so we'll see how it pans out. But Nathan Lyon's superb.
Yeah, big numbers. Only Glenn McGrath and Shane Warne, as you mentioned, ahead of him on Australia's all-time Test wicket-taking list. We've had a chat about Eddie Jones on the show this afternoon. Had John Connolly, another former Wallabies coach, with us to have a bit of a chat. This incredible story kind of had its conclusion, presumably, during the week when Eddie was confirmed as Japanese coach. I think we all knew this was coming. What sort of taste has this left in the mouth of Australian rugby fans in particular at the end of a pretty challenging year?
Yeah, not a good one. I can't imagine he's ever going to get a job again in Australian rugby. Something extraordinary would have to happen, whether it be at whatever level, provincial or certainly Wallabies. He's not going to coach them ever again. It's all a little bit sad, really, but the way it's a harsh word, but the way he's weaseled might be too harsh, but he's kind of manufactured a path to this gig over in Japan, and the language he's used, he's never confronted it head on and said, I actually spoke to them when I was still Wallabies coach. He said, I talked to recruiters, and probably his agents talked to people and everything like that. So it might be true that he never went face-to-face with someone from Japanese rugby to say, I want to be your next coach. But the way he's done it and gone about it, it's torched his reputation over here.
All right, well, let's hope there's brighter times ahead. We look forward to seeing who the new coach might be when that appointment is made, presumably sometime early in the new year. John Connolly threw a couple of names around. Stephen Larkham seems to be a guy who a lot of people like. You haven't heard any time frame or when that might happen? I suppose it'd have to happen quite early in the new year. I'd
be hoping that they're getting onto it now, not waiting, we'll wait until after Christmas. And no, have a good think about it now. And you're right, I'd like to see a guy like Stephen Larkham there, because he's immediately, when you think of him, you think of Wallabies, you think success. And he hasn't had a head coaching role with high pressure, but if he gets the right support around him, he's obviously a really good thinker of the game. He played that way as well, so I wouldn't be against that.
As we come towards the end of any year, we tend to get these lists of the most Googled people around the world and split into different categories. I think some people have just got a bit of spare time on their hands at the end of the year, and they try and find who's been searched for the most. In terms of Australian sports people, who were Australians Googling the most this year? Yeah, well, not just sports people, just like full stop Australians Googled Sam Kerr and Mary Fowler the most. Like more than any other person from Australia. Wow. Not just in the sporting realm. So that again, we keep on getting these things. We've had award season over here where you have those influencers award. We had a TikTok award. We had noble ones like the Sport Australia Hall of Fame, the Don Award, which is the moment of the year in sport, and that got given to the Matildas. They've won everything. They've been on every magazine cover as people of 2023, and this is just the latest that they're the most searched people. And that's a really good indication, actually, I feel, of how popular and what cut-through you're getting as a sporting organisation or a sporting team. And that proves it again that Sam Kerr and Mary Fowler are just up in the realm of your Taylor Swifts of the world here in Australia. It's incredible, absolutely incredible. Astonishing year for the Matildas, for sure. Just before you go, just on a slightly down note as far as football is concerned, the Asian Cup is coming up early in the new year. Australia obviously are going with the intent of doing very well there. But one of their best players, Matthew Leckie, a hamstring injury, I think, Adam. Is he likely to play any part in the Asian Cup? Yeah, I reckon he will. They've said 4 to 6. 4 gets him, probably rules him out of the first game, but they'll hang on, put him in the squad and take him and use him as a bench player, and maybe if we get far enough, he might end up starting games if he's physically up to it. It's a bit of a blow. It's a tricky one for Graham Arnold because a lot of the players are based overseas, and they're having to kind of get them out of club commitments because it's not in a FIFA window. So they're obliged to release them, but he's got to be careful. He doesn't want to take a developing player out of a club situation, then he gets back to his club after the Asian Cup and he sits there for 6 months not playing. So it's a really tricky one, but we should go okay in the Asian Cup, and it's coming around. I think mid-January is the first game against India, which we should skate through the group, but after that we'll need players like Matthew Leckie to be fit, and hopefully he will be. Busy time in Australian sport as per usual. Thanks for joining us as always, Adam. Go and cool down, and look forward to more next week from you. Will do. Thanks, Piney. Have a good one. You have a good one too, mate. Thanks indeed. Adam Peacock, our Australian correspondent. Normally hear him around 1:45 Saturdays. Just a bit late today, but still plenty happening on the other side of the ditch.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.